I don't think people understand the terror of being watched. The feeling of eyes on you piercing through the darkness is something that can send shivers down your spine. It's a primal fear, one that taps into our deepest instincts for survival. Now, imagine that fear amplified, especially when you're 15 stories high. The height adds a layer of impossibility, making the experience even more surreal and terrifying. Mia loved the city, the neon lights, the hum of traffic, the distant chatter. It made her feel less alone. The city was alive, a constant buzz of activity that provided a comforting backdrop to her solitary life. Finding a cheap apartment in a high-rise felt like a dream come true. It was her sanctuary, a place where she could escape the chaos of the world below. The first week was perfect, but then things started to change. The atmosphere in her apartment shifted, becoming heavy and oppressive. The dreams started, vivid nightmares of someone whispering her name, a voice too low to recognize, too close to ignore. It felt as if the voice was right next to her, breathing down her neck. Every night she woke up at 3:15 a.m. drenched in sweat, the exact same time as if an invisible alarm was set to jolt her awake. At first it seemed like stress. Then she saw him, a figure that shouldn't have been there, standing outside her window. A tall, shadowy figure, hollow eyes, twisted grin. His presence was malevolent, sending waves of fear crashing over her. Her heart raced. She lived on the 15th floor, no balcony, no ledge, no way anyone could be there. The sheer impossibility of it made her question her sanity. When she blinked, he was gone. Vanished, as if he had never been there, leaving her to wonder if it was all in her head. She tried to convince herself it was a trick of the light, but the next night he was back, and the next, always at 3:15 a.m., always staring. His eyes bore into her soul, unblinking and relentless. Desperate, she covered the window with thick blankets. That night she slept deeply for the first time in weeks, until she heard the whisper, closer, right beside her bed. The voice was more distinct now, almost familiar. With trembling hands, she reached for her phone and turned on the flashlight. The window was open, the blankets had been ripped down, her sanctuary had been violated, and on the glass, written in condensation, were the words, "Let me in." The message was clear, and it filled her with a dread she'd never known. Mia never stayed another night in that apartment. She packed her things and left, seeking refuge far away from the haunting memories. But even after she moved far away, she still woke up at 3:15 a.m. The time was etched into her psyche, a permanent scar, and sometimes, just sometimes, she swore she saw someone watching from the window, a fleeting shadow, a pair of hollow eyes. The watcher in the window had left a mark on her soul, one that she could never escape.